The storm raged outside the small-town church, rain drizzling onto the stained-glass windows, casting fractured patterns of color across the wooden pews. Thunder growled in the distance, a deep, guttural warning. Inside, Father Elias knelt before the altar, his fingers woven tightly together in prayer. The flickering candlelight danced over his solemn features, illuminating the deep lines etched into his skin by years of devotion and worry. "Lord, grant me strength," he murmured, his voice barely louder than the whisper of the wind through the cracked windows. "The world is turning away from you. I see doubt in their eyes, I hear their questions. How do I bring them back to you?" As if in response, the church trembled. A low, humming sound filled the air, growing in intensity. The candles flickered violently, their flames bending and twisting as if caught in an unseen force. The thunder outside cracked like the voice of an angry god. Then, a blinding light consumed everything. Chapter 2. A broken world. When Elias awoke, the silence was deafening. He lay on cracked pavement, the rough texture biting into his palms as he pushed himself up. The sky was no longer the familiar deep blue of his time, but a sickly, grayish hue, thick with smog. Towering buildings stood in decay, skeletal remains of a once thriving civilization. Fires burned in the distance, their glow casting eerie shadows against the hollowed-out ruins. Elias' breath came in ragged gasps. "Where am I?" The answer came not in words, but in motion. A group of hooded figures dashed past him, clutching makeshift weapons, their eyes darting wildly. They didn't acknowledge his presence, too consumed by their own urgency. Then, a voice, a whisper amidst the chaos. "You shouldn't be out in the open." Elias turned sharply. A young woman no older than her 20s crouched behind a rusted, overturned vehicle. Her dark hair was tangled, her clothes worn and patched. She studied him warily. "What year is this?" Elias asked, his voice hoarse. The woman hesitated, then replied, 2147. Elias felt the breath leave his body. He staggered, grasping onto the side of the vehicle for support. He had been transported, nearly 100 years, into the future. But how? And why? Chapter 3. The Faithless. The abandoned chapel was nothing like the place of worship Elias had once known. Dust and cobwebs choked the air, the wooden pews broken and scattered. A cross lay discarded in the corner, its once polished surface dulled by years of neglect. The young woman, who introduced herself as Lena, sat opposite him, her weary eyes never leaving his face. "What happened here?" Elias finally asked. Lena exhaled slowly. "Faith died. People stopped believing. The world fell apart. The strong took what they wanted. And now, the ones who rule live by their own laws. No mercy, no hope." Elias' heart clenched. "The devil's work." Elias leaned